Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Monday, 21st of July, and this video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. And as usual, we start with the Nasdaq 100 that spiked a little bit higher Friday. Bearish candle, as we can see. So we are a little bit stretched. Also, there is divergence on the RSI. We can see that the trend line here is declining slightly. Market move higher, so it is indicating uptrend exhaustion, but as we can see here, pre-market is actually trying to push a little bit higher, so maybe it's not just over yet, at least not just yet. On the S&P 500, more or less the same picture really. You can see that the RSI value is declining, market moved higher, but also here pre-market we're up about 0.25%. So despite market showing divergence and a little bit of trend exhaustion, well, it's still holding on, and 6,200 on S&P 500 is short-term key support. Dow Jones lagging the other markets a little bit, so there's no divergence there, but there are on the other markets. On the Asian markets, and let's move back to that chart here. On the Asian session this morning, we had Hang Seng closing higher, just about the 25,000. You can see here it actually spiked a little bit above 25,000. So the bullish trend continues. No divergence, indicating likely higher levels on Hang Seng index. On the Nikkei, it's a different story. Still the 40,120 key resistance here. This is the future we are looking at. I think eventually it will break above it and close above it because we have positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence. Sorry. So the indicator is telling us we should move higher. On the European markets, EuroStoxx50 closed a little bit lower Friday, still above the clouds, still positive sentiment on the RSI, and here pre-market up a tad, so it's still holding on. Excuse me. Support here at 5,287 here on the EU50 CFD/future. That should be observed. DAX index opened higher Friday, but sellers were in control throughout the session. If it takes out the lows here from last week, then we could see a larger correction. But for now, we are about just about 0.5%, so still holding on. And here the future or CFD 23,920. If it takes out that, closes below, well, then we have a bearish trend confirmed. On the FX market, well, fairly calm really. We have euro dollar, as you can see, a little bit higher this morning. 61.8 retracement, closed above every single time last week when it dipped below, so it seems to be holding on. But if it takes out the lows there from the 17s at 115.55, then we could see a push down to 115, 144.65 possibly. If it takes out 117.25 here, then uptrend has resumed. Sterling dollar, key support here 133.55. That should be observed. If it moves back above the cloud, then I think uptrend will resume. But there's negative sentiment on the RSI, so the slightly bearish scenario is weighing on it. Euro sterling is I would say a little bit range bound. If it takes out the lows there at 86.35, then I think we'll see a push down to around 86. If it takes out the peak there at 87, well, then uptrend has resumed. On the yen pairs, dollar yen still hovering around this 148.65 area here. Then it's above, then it's below, then it's below. Can't really make up its mind. However, positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels, but it is not a sure thing really. We have the 200 moving average just around 150 that is weighing on it. kind of putting a lid on it a little there, but there should be potential up to 151.25, where we have another strong resistance. But if it starts sliding back below the support here at 146.25, I will actually add another one horizontal line and say, okay, if it takes out that spike down there at 146.90, then I think we could see it pushing down to 145. But it's a little bit muddy picture at the moment. The Euro yen has been in uptrend exhaustion for quite some time, but as we talked about for so long on the weekly chart, there is still potential up to the previous peak there at 175.5 area. On the Aussie yen is sideways a little bit after being rejected here at 97.30.33, and when it reached the 138.2 projection. So a little bit of setback. We have support area here around the 95.75, and where we have the 200 moving average still slightly declining, but the other moving averages are rising. Positive sentiment on the RSI, slightly divergence, I think, but if it takes out the peak there at 97.45, then I think we see a push up towards a 99. Sterling yen rejected there at 199.95 once again, and it's quite interesting how it does that. You see also back here, it didn't even touch. It was the same really. So that's the horizontal line I have put in there. I can do that on the weekly too, so we can actually see it. So it's quite interesting. Can't get above that 200. Can't even touch it. Very, very close to, but there seems to be really strong resistance up there. So I think if we suddenly have a move above 200, it could be like just like a ketchup effect, where it's just shooting higher. Aussie dollar, well, support here at 64.85. That is back below, and the 55 moving average, but staying above every single day. Closing just around that level, or just a few pips above it. So that's the range we should keep an eye on. 65.95 to the upside. If it takes out that, then bullish trend has resumed. So positive sentiment, but it's not convincing to say the least. We also have the 200 moving average that is weighing on it a little bit. On dollar Canada, sliding a little bit lower, still below the 55 moving average, still below the cloud area, and still negative sentiment on the RSI. Needs to close above 60 threshold to confirm bullish trend. So I think we could see a slide lower. If it takes out 136.35 down here, well, downtrend has resumed. Other than that, it could still spike up to 138.35 area. So be wary of that. Sterling Canada still dancing around above the lower part of the cloud, and the support here around 183.60. If it takes out the cloud and these lows here from last week, then next one is 182.60. Otherwise, we could bounce, it could crawl back above the cloud, and then it could resume uptrend. Still negative sentiment on the RSI, so we're a little bit in a limbo here. Euro Swiss, key support these lows here from last week, where it actually opened lower here at 92.90. If it takes out that, and I don't think we need a close, I think we just need a break below, then we are looking at 92.20, could be looking at 92.20. Dollar Swiss, well, flirting around with this falling trend line there. Support 79.45. If it takes out that, then downtrend has resumed. If it takes out these peaks here from last week at 86, 60, 65, then we could see a push up to 81.40 area, the 786 retracement, and a 55 moving average. And finally, the dollar index, more or less the same picture, seems to sliding back. RSI rejected at 60 threshold, so we could see downtrend to resume. It needs to take out that 55 moving average there, and needs to take out the spike up there at a 98.67 to continue, and should close above for a confirmation of a bullish trend. Moving on to metals and golds, still keeping itself above this rising trend line there. Let's remove this one. flirting now again with the 61.8 retracement here at 33.73. Still, I believe that the key is 3,400, but if it takes out that spike up there at 3,377, then I think we will also see a break of 3,400. We are still above the cloud. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, which is now breaking above its falling trend line. And if RSI moves back and closes back above 60 threshold, then we will see higher levels on gold. If it takes out the lows here from last week, around 3,300, then we could see a push down to 32.45. On silver, slowly crawling higher. I still believe we will push higher. We are in this bullish trend. There is a bit divergence on the RSI, as we can see, but we are in this bullish trend also on the weekly chart. So I think we will see it pushing higher. And if it takes out the peak here at 39.14, well, then we are looking up in the 40s, 43, 45. The platinum higher Friday, but then suddenly sellers took control, and now we have a situation where there is divergence. So it really needs to take out that peak there to reverse that. So it's actually telling us, well, there's potential top and reversal here. But looking at the weekly, there is no divergence. There is a bit divergence building up, but it's still up in the air, could still push higher here. So let's see a very strong push. But be careful if you are thinking about investing in platinum. It looks a little bit stressed at the moment. And finally, when we talk metals, copper seems like now to resume uptrend and possibly taking out 570. And if it does, then I think the peak there will be challenged. There is currently no divergence on the RSI, indicating likely higher levels here on the weekly. We can also see very strong bullish trend. As long as stay above 542, it seems like we are going to push higher. On the energy market, range bound here on the crude oil, 69.65. Needs to take out that for a really bullish trend. We are above the cloud, but it's not really. See, we are sliding into the cloud, so we are basically in a neutral position. 64 to the downside on WTI Brent. Well, 71.53, and to the downside is 66.30. The European nat gas sliding a little bit lower, finding bids this morning. Could test the 32.64 lows here, but yeah, the downtrend is still intact. Negative sentiment on the RSI. All moving averages declining more or less. We have 55 still a little bit flat. The US nat gas has opened this morning lower. Back below the cloud, still negative sentiment on the RSI. We could slide lower here, and I think we could see it at 333 or 3.25. The 786 retracement, I believe we will see that fairly soon. Moving on to interest rates and yields. US 10-year Treasury yields sliding back again. After being above the cloud, after the RSI closed just above 60 threshold, now we are sliding back, could slide back to the 335 area where we have all moving averages kind of, they are all pushing higher. So I think it will turn around here, but if it takes out 332, then we suddenly have a different situation. If we are looking at the actual future, sometimes it gives a little bit slightly different picture. We actually did not have the RSI closing below 40 threshold, so still in a positive sentiment and could bounce higher. And I think that if we just move that one area, if we're closing above 111.14, well, then bullish trend. On the European yields, well, we have EU 10-year setting back this early morning here, back to the 265, could push down to 260, where there's some stronger support, and the 55 moving average also coming up. Positive sentiment on the RSI still indicating higher levels, but it couldn't really close above 271, which was the key resistance. So for now we will have a setback. UK, same picture more or less. Got rejected there at 466, 467 resistance, and now sitting back a little bit. It really needs to close above that level. Finally, on cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin crawling higher today. Could push higher towards 123, 231, which is the all-time highs here. If it takes out, well, then we are looking at 130, possibly 130,000. It's interesting that Ethereum, again, I haven't checked what the news are there. I'm just enjoying chart. You can see now we are around 3,800. We are above this resistance. So next one is up here around 4,100. But look at RSI, really high there at almost 88. And remember, RSI can only go to 100, but it can't go any further. So we are really stretched there, extreme levels. So I would expect a bit of a correction and then a push higher. I think we'll see Ethereum to 4,000, maybe 4,100. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you again later.